Good afternoon, children. Let us continue our class How Computer Works, Lesson 1. Okay. The last class, what all things we have learned? Let us revise. Characteristics of a computer works very fast, gives accurate results, not get tired. Parts of a computer, that is monitor, keyboard, mouse, and CPU. Okay. And now let us see about the CPU. CPU is the main part of a computer. CPU is the brain of the computer, and the full form of CPU is Central Processing Unit. Okay. Now, let us see what all things are there in the CPU. Inside the CPU, we can see microprocessor, power supply, memory, hard disk, motherboard, and modem. Okay. Let us discuss about these parts. First, let us see what is microprocessor. Microprocessor is the brain of the computer where actual processing is done. We can see different microprocessors, that is Intel Pentium 4, dual core i5, i7, etc. Next, let us see about the power supply. Power supply is a device which converts AC, that is alternating current, which is available in the electric points, and converts into DC, that is direct current on which electronic goods run. Okay, now let us see the next part, that is hard disk. Hard disk is a permanent storage medium. It has a big capacity. The information which you want to use frequently or in the future can be stored in the hard disk. Okay, next let us see about the memory. Memory is used to store every information of data given to a computer. The main memory of the computer is known as RAM. It is fixed on the motherboard and keeps the information on hold until the computer is switched off. Okay, now let us see about the motherboard. Motherboard is the main electronic circuit board on which all the components and parts of a computer are fixed or connected. The microprocessor and the memory are placed on the motherboard. Okay, now let us see about the modem. Modem is a device that converts computer digital data into analog data which can travel through telephone lines. It is used to connect the computer to the internet. We can see two types of modems, that is internal modem and external modem. The first one we can see is external modem and the second one is internal modem. Okay, now let us discuss how the computer works. With an example, we can explain this. When a teacher asks a question to a student, the student will hear the question through his ears and his brain starts thinking what to give as answer, isn't it? And when the brain works, he will give the answer through his mouth. Okay, so here the process is going on in three ways, right? First, here the student is hearing the question through his ears and his brain starts working and the answer will come out through the mouth, isn't it? Same way, the computer works in the three process. The basic function of a computer can also categorized into three sections, that is inputting, processing and outputting, isn't it? Inputting, processing and outputting. Okay. Now let us discuss how the data moves. Input. What do you mean by input? Input means to give data or instructions to the computer using any one of the input devices. Okay. Now process. What is a process? Process means the data or instructions given by the input devices to be processed. That is process. And after the processing, you will get a result. To produce the process data given by the processing unit, that is information. After processing the data, we will get a result, that is output. Okay. Now, how the data flows and the devices used for the data. The devices which are used for inputting data is input devices, and the device which is used to process is processing device, and the device which is used to produce the results or process data is known as output device. Okay. Now let us see how this data flows in block diagram. First, you are inputting data through an input device. Okay. Now, it keeps the input and output stored for further use. Whenever you are giving an input data, it comes to the memory and stored. After that, it goes stored. After the processing, so after storing the data will go to CPU. In the CPU, we can divide into three parts. That is control unit, ALU, that is arithmetic logic unit, and MU is memory unit. In the CPU, data will store in the memory unit and the processing will done in the arithmetic logic unit, that is ALU. And the whole system is controlled by the control unit. And after processing, the result will be stored in the memory unit and it comes to the results come out through the output device. Okay, in short, I'll read once more. Sends input to the CPU. It keeps the input and output stored for the further use. It controls all the parts and components and uses them for their specific roles. Problems are solved here in the arithmetic logic unit, and the results and reports are given by the part that is output unit. Okay. What do you mean by IPO cycle? IPO cycle means input, process and output cycle. Arithmetic and logic unit is used to perform logical and arithmetical operations. The control unit interacts with the input-output devices and memory devices and assigns them required instructions for the processing a certain action. This entire cycle is termed as an IPO cycle. Okay. Now, let us revise what all things we learned today. We learned today internal parts of a CPU, microprocessor, power supply, hard disk, memory, motherboard and modem, and basic functions of a computer, how the data flows through a computer and devices used for data flow, and the block diagram of a computer, and as well as what is an IPO cycle. So that's all for today. Thank you. See you next class.